applicants than others. So, yeah, we may put this out there, and a part-time position without benefits may not get a lot of applicants. There could be someone that wants that flexibility of maybe some flexible hours, maybe they have kids in school. We don't know for sure.
I'm also looking at the opportunity. I know some of the things that you've been tasked with, I think could be passed on to someone who can, that $18, $20 range to do some more things to free up some of your time. Same with Sarah. I mean, every time I call her up with something else to do, I apologize to her because I know how full your plates are. Just my thoughts.
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to offer a motion that we proceed with the hiring process for a full-time planner and a full-time community development assistant. I think that if you want to report back to the council, Noah, that you found somebody that just loves the idea of part-time work, let's talk about that. But I want to give you the flexibility. I think you can discuss that with a suitable applicant, but that the approval process would be a full-time planner and a full-time community development assistant as proposed, other than full-time instead of part-time for the community development assistant.
All right, so there's a motion to move forward with full-time positions with staff, giving them the flexibility to part-time if they can find someone to that effect. But
I will second that. I think it's much needed. We have a lot of things going on, a lot of people with too much going on. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get busier. So I think that's actually a good idea.
all right, so there's a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Alderman Kittle,
Yes.
Alderman Vries,
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes.
Alderman Montello,
Yes.
Alderman Volkert,
Yes.
Alderman Kraft.
Yes.
All right, and that motion passes. Item 7.9, 2022 health insurance process.
So Sarah and I will kind of tag team this one. We are just beginning the health insurance renewal process for 2022. We had a one-year agreement with J.A. Counter, and at this time, staff are recommending inviting our current broker, J.A. Counter, to submit as part of a request for proposals. I really feel that it's a challenging time right now when it comes to health insurance. Still some uncertainty with COVID in terms of consumers of healthcare who may have postponed elective surgeries and things like that. And really, we just want to do our due diligence and make sure that we have the best broker working with us as we head into the budget process for 2022. And so staff would be preparing a request for proposal, sending out to several brokers, including J.A. Counter, to respond to. And I would bring that back to the council for approval, possibly at the June work session, most likely at the July regular council meeting, though.
So Noah, instead, I think last year, did we, instead of putting out a request for proposals, did we actually just invite specific firms to respond?
We still had a request for proposals, but it was,
Okay.
we sent it directly to maybe 5.
I think there were 5 or 6 that we selected and sent out to. In addition to, it was posted as well.
Okay. I just want to make sure that there's an opportunity for other regional providers
Right.
to respond to.
Yes.
Okay.
I think the difficulty is, having just been through this at work, it's not an issue of just what's the premium. It's what's the coverage. Obviously, between level funded and self-funded or fully insured plans, I mean, it is a labyrinth of trying to sort it out. And while I don't think inviting other brokers is a bad idea, it definitely adds a layer of complexity of weeding through, because you'll have agents, and I know you know this, Sarah, but you'll have brokers that will bid the same company. But then there's this whole issue about, is the city pursuing a self-funded plan? Are they going with fully insured? Those are the two main ones that are just off the top of my head. So, as I've told some folks, it's like getting a root canal. But maybe it's not that enjoyable. But anyhow, I think a great idea, and it's necessary to be out in the marketplace.
I have a question about, how do we pay these people? How does that work for financially.
Do you want to explain?
For the brokerage?
Yeah,
So it's based on a percentage of the
Okay.
renewal, yeah.
that's what I thought.
Are you talking about the broker that
The
we buy
broker
our
that
insurance
actually
through?
does a lot of this work,
No, but I mean that we're buying our insurance through, or
No.
just for the request?
the request.
They don't get paid
Oh,
for that.
they don't, I'm sorry. I
They don't
thought
get
you
paid at
meant-
all?
No, only if they end up being our broker.
Okay.
Clarifying that, I misunderstood the question.
You don't need any action. You just, or for information purposes?
Probably be good to have direction from a formal vote tonight. And we did reach out to Jay Counter last week, so they are aware of this as well, so.
Well, I would make a motion that we approve the 2022 health insurance process as presented tonight and put out an RFP looking for local and regional providers.
All right, there's a motion to approve the 2022 health insurance process with the RFPs. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just this, to make it as less, well, let's say painless as possible, I think it's going to be a requirement of these brokers. You're going to tell them that you're doing one health questionnaire. I'm assuming you're going to have to. You have to get the bids, that you're going to do one online and everybody has to use that, because the last thing you want is somebody coming in and saying, no, we've got our own form. So I think you need to find what that generic thing is and do it that way so that the employees don't have to do it more than once.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
Alderman Vreese,
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier,
Yes.
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
Alderman Volkert,
Yes.
Alderman Kraft,
Yes.
Alderman Kittle.
Yes.
That motion passes. Item 710, the first quarter 2021 financial report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We'll make this pretty quick. So, in summary, there were no significant revenue or expenditure variances through the first quarter. Building permit revenue is still going strong, and expenditures ended the quarter about 3% less than same time last year. So we're through the first quarter, our financial performance is pretty good. And with that said, in the interest of time, are there any questions on any of the details in the report?
Any big discrepancies, whether on the income side or the expense side?
No, not really. I mean, there were some things that maybe last year didn't show up till second quarter that showed up in first quarter this year, but nothing that's like out of place or something that stood out.
No red flags.
No red flags, yeah.
So I do want to ask a question. I don't know if you want me to wait for miscellaneous. I'm just curious, Joel, to put you on the spot, how the appraisal stuff, the reassessment is going. Can I ask that question during this
Go
item?
for it.
What are you hearing from,
Probably, I think that's more of a Michelle question.
well, whoever? I like the fact that the blood drained out of Joel's face when I asked him that, so.
Joel says it's going very well.
Nice.
So the appraisers are in section 4. They haven't given any indication. I actually have a call with them on Wednesday, and they're going to be presenting to you all at the June 28th work session to give a better sense of that. So we'll have more of a report for that from them by end of next week that we'll forward in advance.
I think it's super important for just folks in the community who have not interacted with them yet to understand it's a much more flexible situation than it has been in the past in terms of the options they're giving people when it comes to reassessing their properties, so.
Yep, it's gone well. With each section, they've had a larger percentage of calls and people making appointments in different ways. So the first session was very average and typical of what they see across Wisconsin. And now by the fourth section, they're way above what they normally see. So I think people in other neighborhoods are saying, it's not bad. They're super easy to work with. Just let them see so we can all be reevaluated correctly.
So Michelle, they're gonna do a report at the work session?
They are, and they're just going to answer any questions that you have at all about the process. We're going to kind of, I can send an email if people have questions they want to make sure are addressed as part of their presentation. You can forward those in advance. But they'll be joining us, I think virtually, for the work session.
Well, I think I'd like you to ask them to have prepared, I'd be curious what the breakdown is. I think there's basically 3 options. You know, they can do an
Oh, sure.
in-home inspection, they can walk the outside, they can sit in their
Yeah.
car outside. I would be curious to hear what the
I
breakdown
can
is.
actually probably forward that after our call on Wednesday.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Yep. The largest percentage is walk through the home. And then second is phone calls. And then the virtual is about 3 people in each section so far, so much lower.
Very good.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question about the budget.
That's what I was just going to ask.
We're about 16 days of finishing the second quarter. Kind of the first we've seen of any report in the first quarter. Can we get a financial report sooner than 2 months following the,
Yeah, I presume we do. 'Cause part of it was,
Yeah, but didn't we have something before relative to the first quarter?
We had something last month that we kind of rushed through, didn't we?
We went through fourth quarter,
Oh,
2020.
fourth quarter. Okay.
Right, so a little bit of catching up with Rayanne out.
Yeah.
It just takes a little bit longer to get, because, you know, you like to have the reports, but they're not like everyday operational. So it's something that you have to kind of get to amongst all the other things day to day. But
see, being the new guy, you get to ask dumb questions.
no, it wasn't a dumb question. Wasn't dumb at all.
but we will be able to get them quicker once Rayanne's back to a more full-time capacity. So we got a little bit of a little bit more staff time.
Okay. What is normal? Because I don't know what normal is.
With the software we have right now, it's probably about a month after the quarter ends, we can start working on that.
No, but-
Because there's a lag between when bills come in and when they're recorded in our system, basically.
So I think when he's asked, what he's asking is, when are we going to have the second quarter report? Would that be at the August council meeting? Is that good time frame?
I mean, do you say?
Yeah,
is it-
August council meeting would be a good time frame.
Is it 45 days about? You say it's a month until you can start working on it, and then what does it take you to put it together?
Probably like 2 days.
Right. Thank you.
I have a question on the revenue side. How is the community doing for utility bills and the business community? Are we behind? Do we have a lot of shut-offs? Just wondering how that's going or where we're at with that.
I think that's going better than what we initially thought. Out of the $15,000, I want to say, about 10 of that has been applied to people who qualified for energy assistance. So we haven't used up all of the community funds yet.
Okay.
So I think we're doing pretty good from that point. I mean, we've gotten the money out to people who need it, and as people continue to need it, it, you know, is still flowing out.
Good.
But we haven't had a huge amount of shut-offs since the initial round a couple months ago.
Okay.
I believe at the last utility commission last week, Mike, didn't we see a number that actually we were ahead of the previous year?
Thanks.
Any other questions on the financial report? I know we talked about probably in August, but if you could do it, maybe the work session in July.
And with the new software, Joel, once that gets installed and once we get everything done that side, is it going to be weeks?
That
Minutes?
should significantly speed things up. I would say hopefully a few weeks after the quarter ends.
Right.
Because, well, even if we haven't gotten everything recorded, there'll still be something called encumbrance, so we'll still be able to have an accurate estimate of, you know, all the invoices that have yet to be paid or all the invoices that we've yet to receive. We just don't have that ability right now.
Right. Thanks.
Thank you much. Item 8 is communications miscellaneous. Have any?
No, just the peonies.
Just the peonies. Again, feel free to take some peonies. Right when you walk in the door. I went out and did chores, and the neighbor came over with the big bundle of peonies, and I love them. My wife is not a fan of peonies. Absolutely. So they're not coming home with me. I want people to enjoy the peonies. Hearing no communications, closed session per state statute 19.851E. We have development agreement, accelerated plastics, business and technical park, and fire chief and ancillary personnel matters.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. I make a motion that we go into closed session.
The motion to go into closed,
Second.
and a second. Call the roll.
Alderman Montello?
Yes.
Alderman Volkert?
Yes.
Alderman Kraft?
Yes.
Alderman Kittle?
Yes.
Alderman Vries?
Yep.
Alderman Weinmeier?
Yes.
All right, we are in closed session.
Beth needs to talk to you. Beth?